the ministers, assistant ministers, the permanent secretaries, government dignitaries, partners, private sector organization reps, university representatives, welcome this afternoon to this very important occasion. This labor demand survey, titled the National Skills Gap Assessment Survey, is a milestone not only for the private sector, but also for the government, considering the business environment and the labor market conditions that we are operating in today. This is the first such survey that is done and published for the country. It is not the first survey done. The first one was done in 2006 when I was the manager labor market for the Fiji government. It was done by consultant and now Member of Parliament, Honorable Biman Prasad. But we were about to release the survey that year, but the 2006 coup happened. So I think we're coming around 360 circle to ensure that such a survey is done and is released and published so it can guide both program and policy development here in Fiji. We have a very small and simple formal program today. First, we will have a welcome speech by not the president of FSEF, he has sent his apologies, but Mr. Vinay Narsi, who is the immediate past president of the Fiji Commerce and Employees Federation. We will then have the address by a technical agency that has supported this initiative, Mr. Martin Wandera, the ILO director for the Pacific Island countries. We will then hear from our chief guest, the keynote address, the Honorable Prime Minister. Then we will launch the report. Before launching the report, we will have the key findings of the report, and that will be presented by the Fiji Bureau of Statistics. And then we will have the photo opportunity and media interviews for our chief guests. So without further ado, I now welcome Mr. Vinay Narsi, the immediate past president of Fiji Commerce and Employees Federation, to deliver the welcome address. Mr. Vinay Narsi.
Thanks, CEO. Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, Prime Minister of Fiji and Minister for Civil Service, Strategic Planning, National Development and Statistics, and Acting Minister, Youth and Sports. Honorable Williame Nopoto, Minister of Immigration. And acting posts. I see Assistant Minister Nathia, Minister of Women, Ms. Kiran with us here today too. Thank you. My friend Martin Wandera, Director ILO. Rosie Fong, Vice President, Fiji Human Resource Institute. Dr. Eddie Naisele, Director, Higher Education Commission of Fiji. Other Cabinet Ministers, Permanent Secretaries, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Higher Education Reps, Fiji Bureau of Stats, private sector representatives, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our chief guest, Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, Prime Minister of Fiji, to today's event. And all of you here today to witness the launch of the National Skills Gap Assessment Survey. This national survey is a very important one, not only for the private sector, but also for the public sector. This survey responds to a major business challenge faced by all employers and businesses around the country, the skills and labor crisis. Simply put, A, we cannot find enough local workers. B, we cannot find enough local workers who have the right qualifications, skills, and behaviors. This is why it is a crisis. You will see how much of an issue this presents in the report. Local labor market imbalance, growth rate of foreign labor despite an overall growth in workforce, and a decrease in Itoke labor participation. These supply-side constraints currently being experienced in our labor market is resulting in higher recruitment and training costs, lower productivity, reduced competitiveness locally and globally, and increasing cost of doing business, resulting in depleting profits and a lower appetite for investment. In the last few years, FSEF has been very vocal about the need to prioritize the needs of our local labor market and of our local employers and businesses. It has been a little frustrating to watch our workers leave our shores on various labor mobility and immigration schemes. seeing millions of dollars invested on higher education and training without any real improvement to our labor supply, and trying to justify and work through the bureaucracy of bringing in foreign workers to fill the gap so our factories and offices remain in operation. I think this needs urgent attention. For this reason, FSEF, FHRI, Higher Education Commission worked with government, especially Ministry of Finance and the Fiji Bureau of Stats, to develop the evidence that will inform policies and strategies of government institutions such as Ministry of Education, Ministry of Employment, Ministry of Immigration, higher education institutes, to prioritize our local labor market and employers through education, capacity building, work-ready training, and immigration policies. They all go hand in hand. As a nation, if we were to achieve a 5% GDP growth and move to a high middle income country, then it is imperative that local industries are prioritized, particularly in the supply of workers with the right qualifications, skills, behaviors demanded by the employers. FSEF has also been very vocal about reinstating the employer's 1% FNU levy to its intended purpose. This 1% is an important mix in correcting the supply side of our labor market. Employers will invest this 1% in ensuring that workers receive the right qualifications and skills, much needed to improve local employment, productivity, industry competitiveness, and contributing more to economic growth. Therefore, we are happy that our chief guest today is not only our Prime Minister, but also Minister responsible for strategic planning, national development and statistics, a relevant portfolio to take forward the results of the National Skills Gap Assessment Survey. No pressure, PM. Finally, I would like to highlight the importance of such public and private partnerships supported by our development partners. This survey is a testimony that we can work together to develop evidence and address key challenges faced by both private and public sectors. Such models are proven to be effective and sustainable, and FSEF stands ready to work with government and other partners on similar initiatives. Thank you very much, and I welcome you all to today's event.
Thank you, IPP Narsi. This event is also streamed live on government Facebook and FSEF Facebook page. I now have the pleasure in inviting the ILO Director for the Pacific Island countries to deliver his speech from the technical agency that supported this survey. Please welcome Mr. Wandera.
Thank you, Edward. The Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, Prime Minister of Fiji and Minister for Strategic Planning, National Development and Statistics, the immediate past President of Fiji Commerce Employers Federation, my brother Vinay, Ms. Rosie Fong, Vice President of the Fiji Human Resource Institute, Dr. Esina Iseli, the Director of the Higher Education Commission of Fiji, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Bula Vinaka and good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, somewhere in Fiji today, a hospital manager is advertising for a nurse who will not come. A construction firm is delaying a project because it cannot find qualified electricians. There is a classroom teacher who is in class but planning to leave. These are not isolated stories in Fiji, nor in the whole of the Pacific. They are symptoms of a skills mismatch, and that's why this survey matters. According to FSEF 2024 Enterprise Survey, skill shortages now rank among the top 4 business challenges reported by Fijian employers. According to FBOS, youth employment stands at 18%, yet at the same time, business cannot fill their vacancies. That is the paradox that brings us here today. There are vacancies, yet there are also people who are looking for jobs. Before I go further, allow me to pay sincere tribute to those whose vision and commitment have made this day possible. To the government of Fiji, and especially to you, Prime Minister, thank you for your leadership in funding and championing this initiative. Evidence-based policy making requires political courage as well as technical capacity. Fortunately, Right Honourable Prime Minister, your government has demonstrated that it has both. To FSEF and your partners, this survey began with your conviction that Fiji's skills challenges must be confronted with data and not assumptions. That conviction is what drove this process forward, and the ILO commends you for it. To the Higher Education Commission of Fiji, thank you for being here. Your involvement ensures that the findings of this survey will connect directly to where skills are formed in our classrooms, training institutes, and universities. And to FBOS, the technical backbone of the entire exercise, we say a big vinaka. The ILO is proud to have contributed technical input to the survey instrument itself, and we know that its credibility rests on the rigor and professionalism FBOS brings. We are also glad that there is intention to integrate this survey into FBOS regular statistical program, because sustainable labor market intelligence is not a one-off exercise. It is an ongoing commitment. Honourable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, the ILO's engagement with this survey is part of a broader commitment to strengthening labor market intelligence across the Pacific. We have been building the capacity of national statistics offices across the region, supporting the conduct of labor force surveys in multiple Pacific countries, and running the Pacific Labor Statistics Academy, an initiative designed to develop a new generation of labor statisticians who can produce, analyze, and apply data that governments and employers need. But the ILO's commitment to Fiji goes beyond data. We bring experience in strengthening skills development systems, including through apprenticeships and technical and vocational training across the Pacific and globally. That experience means that when this survey identifies gaps, we do not simply note them. We are ready to work hand in hand with the government of Fiji to address the gaps that have been identified through skills development interventions, through strengthening training pathways, and through apprenticeship, among others. And for those who might not know, the Catering College Training Institute here in Fiji was started with a collaboration with the government of Fiji and the ILO in the 70s. We are ready to continue along that path. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that collecting data is only the beginning. The real value lies in what happens next. How findings shape policy, how training systems respond to this information that will be shared today, how employers will plan, and how workers are supported into jobs where their skills are needed and valued. Skills mismatch is a challenge affecting countries across the world. But the real challenge is not simply identifying labor and skills gaps. The real challenge is identifying them and failing to act. This survey will come to naught if we learn nothing and do nothing about the knowledge that has been generated. But in the case of Fiji, Today's launch signals that Fiji intends to act. It demonstrates a commitment to responding to labor market challenges through evidence rather than assumption, through coordination rather than isolation, and through a shared understanding that the skills of Fiji's people are not just a policy priority, they are Fiji's most important resource. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the nurse who is needed, the electrician who can't be found, the young person whose potential is untapped are the reason we are here today. When this survey is used well, it will not just improve statistics, it will improve lives. The ILO stands ready to walk every step of the journey with Fiji. Vinaka Vakalevu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wandera, for sharing the perspective from the ILO. And I'm very sure that some of that is from the place in Fiji where he claims to be, which is Kandavu. And that's why Mr. Wandera is wearing his Sulu today. Now, before we ask the Honorable Prime Minister, Chief Guest, to deliver his keynote address, we'd like to honor him by garlanding him. And we ask now from a staff from the Bureau of Statistics to please garland our Chief Guest, the Honorable Prime Minister, before he goes up to the podium. Please give him a big round of applause. And now that the Prime Minister is garlanded with a garland from Rotuma, I now have the pleasure in inviting our Prime Minister to deliver his keynote address. Please give a big round of applause to the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Sitiveni Rabuka.
Honorable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, he's not here. Senior government officials, they're here. I don't see any other member of the diplomatic corps. The President of Fiji Commerce, the Vice President or Acting President, whatever they call it now. They're all acting at the moment. Senior representative from the Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation. How's that? Fit? The ILO Director for the Pacific Island countries, Mr. Wandera, Ms. Ambula. Welcome home. Members of the media, distinguished guests. I thought I was going to hold up the beginning of this meeting. I had to drive back from the West and be here in time. I thank and we acknowledge the traditional landowners where we sit today. Mai, Suva. We pay our respects to their chiefs, past, present, and emerging, and we also acknowledge their role, their enduring role within the Vanua and its stewardship over this land, the site of the capital city of Suva. We are honored to stand on this land through their guardianship and generosity. I'm pleased to join you today for the launch of the 2026 National Skills Gap Assessment Survey, a very important milestone in strengthening Fiji labor market intelligence and shaping the future of our workforce. The survey represents more than a technical exercise. It is a strategic national instrument grounded in evidence to guide policy, to inform investment in human capital, and align our workforce with the demands of a rapidly evolving global economy. I command the Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation, the Fiji Bureau of Statistics, government agencies, development partners, business and private sector leaders for their collaboration and leadership in delivering this important national initiative. This initiative reflects our shared commitment to ensuring that Fiji's workforce remains skilled, adaptable, and competitive in a rapidly changing global economy. At the heart of Fiji's national development agenda is a simple but powerful principle that our people are our greatest asset, and that's the second time we've heard it this afternoon. Similarly, our vision is clear: to build a resilient economy, to empower our people, and to uphold good governance. As outlined in our National Development Framework and our long-term ambition to achieve high income status by 2050, sustained growth will depend on productivity, on innovation, and a workforce that is skilled and future-ready. This requires a deliberate shift from fragmented interventions to a coordinated, whole-of-system approach to skills development, education, and workforce planning. Fiji stands at a critical juncture. The 2026 National Skills Gap Assessment Survey presents a clear and urgent message. Labor shortage is now a binding constraint to national growth. The findings point to a significant and widespread gap across key sectors, particularly in construction, nursing, and specialized healthcare, telecommunications, engineering, and aviation safety. Demand for technical trades, including electricians, plumbers, joiners, and construction workers, continues to outpace supply. At the same time, shortages are emerging in professional and regulatory roles, including quality assurance officers, human resource professionals, and occupational health and safety inspectors. Equally important are the gaps in the core workplace capabilities. Employers are not only seeking technical competence, but also workers with strong customer service, problem-solving ability, digital literacy, and increasingly the capacity to apply emerging technologies such as AI. This presents a deeper structural challenge. Despite job vacancies, a significant proportion of our youth, particularly those between 15 and 24, remain disengaged from both employment and education. See, this youth paradox highlights a critical disconnect between education pathways and labor market needs. The survey confirms that these challenges are not short-term. They are the result of a long-standing misalignment between education, training, and industry demand, where systems have not sufficiently equipped individuals with the skills, values, and work readiness that today's economy requires. These structural issues are further compounded by external pressures. While we are fortunate to have a relatively young population that represents around 70% of our labor force, the country continues to experience persistent skills shortages driven by rising domestic demand, increased labor mobility, and strong global competition for talent. Between January 2023 and February 2024, approximately 15,500 Fijians migrated overseas for better employment opportunities, placing additional strain on the sustainability of our national workforce. This has intensified domestic labor shortages and increased reliance on foreign workers. Across critical sectors, from August 2023 to January 2025, nearly 11% of employers applied for work permits, with approximately 6,460 permits issued in critical industries such as construction, manufacturing, tourism, retail, and services. The survey examined employment types, foreign employment and skills loss, revealing that 59.5% of workers are wage earners and 40.5% are salary earners, and foreign employment increased by 79% between 2022 and 2024. Key skills gaps are being filled by foreign workers in technical and machine operations, accounting, and culinary roles. I met a chap who came all the way from Ba. He has a small investment in the tourism belt. He's been trying to get 2 chefs from Sri Lanka, and he's thinking these people are giving him a lot of headache, so there needs to be collaboration among government agencies and the employer community in Fiji. The 2024-2025 national budget underscored the urgency of addressing mismatches between workforce supply and industry demand. Strengthening labor market intelligence is therefore essential to identifying sector-specific skills shortages that constrain productivity and investment, informing education and training priorities so that qualifications align with market needs, guiding policy decisions on foreign professional recruitment, ensuring that imported skills complement rather than replace the domestic workforce. And hopefully also upskill our domestic workforce. Government has strengthened its focus on coordinated labor and skills planning through the establishment of the National Task Force on Labor and Skills, bringing together public institutions, the private sector, training providers, and development partners. A core responsibility of the task force has been supporting the implementation of the National Skills Gap Assessment Survey. Government remains firmly committed to informed decision-making in education, skills development, and workforce utilization. Decisions grounded in credible data, robust analysis, and meaningful stakeholder engagement. Collaboration with national universities and training institutions continues to ensure closer alignment between labor supply and industry demand, and to build a responsive, relevant, and future-ready workforce. Further, while labor mobility brings benefits, it also underscores the urgency of strengthening domestic capacity to sustain growth and reduce vulnerabilities. The release of the National Skills Gap Assessment Survey marks a critical step forward in strengthening Fiji's capacity to plan, invest, and respond strategically to the realities of our labor market. This survey is not simply a diagnostic exercise. It is a national decision-making tool that will shape workforce, education, and economic policy. Over 90% participation from businesses and organizations since its rollout in November last year demonstrates a high level of confidence and partnership across the public and private sectors. This level of engagement provides a robust and credible foundation for national planning. The findings point to a growing workforce, with total employment increasing from just over 91,000 in 2022 to more than 101,000 in 2025, confirming continued expansion and opportunity within the domestic labor market. At the same time, the survey establishes, for the first time, a nationally verified picture of labor and skills gaps, enabling government to anticipate skills demand over the next 6 to 12 months and respond with greater precision. That data is quite useful, but not complete. We have to find out what our attrition rate is. Those coming in, what we're losing, then maybe we're in a better position to say whether we are doing better or doing less than what others before us had done. Importantly, the survey provides insight at national, divisional, and provincial levels, ensuring that future policy responses are balanced, they are inclusive and responsive to regional realities. These findings will directly inform the new 5-year National Strategic Human Resources Plan, providing a unified framework to align education, training, and workforce development with industry needs and national priorities. Collectively, these results strengthen government's ability to move decisively, ensuring that skills development, workforce planning, and investment decisions are grounded in evidence, aligned with demand, and focused on building a future-ready workforce for Fiji. The release of this survey marks a transition from diagnosis to decisive action. Further, government's response will be anchored on 3 strategic priorities. First, strengthening institutional architecture for productivity and skills development. The proposed Productivity Commission of Fiji will provide independent, evidence-based advice to ensure that skills policy is aligned with economic transformation and national priorities. Second, aligning training systems to industry demand. The repositioning of the Fiji Training and Productivity Center will enhance its role in an implementation arm, ensuring that training delivery is responsive, is relevant, and outcomes-driven. And third, the building capability across the public sector. The Fiji Learning Institute for Public Service will continue to strengthen leadership, policy capability, and coordination, ensuring that government itself is equipped to deliver on complex, cross-cutting reforms. Together, these reforms reflect a deliberate shift toward a coherent, integrated, and results-oriented skills ecosystem, one that connects data to policy, policy to institutions, and institutions to measurable outcomes. Looking ahead, the priority is clear. We must realign education and training systems with industry demand, strengthen school-to-work transitions, and embed values such as work ethic, discipline, and responsibility alongside technical skills. We see some distinguished former educators among the audience today. Hopefully they will see now, looking down or looking back at education, will know what they may have missed out, what they could have done better as educators. We must also accelerate digital capability, ensuring that our workforce is not only prepared for today's jobs, but equipped for the future of work. At the same time, stronger partnerships between government, industry, and training institutions will be essential. No single institution can address these challenges alone. Ladies and gentlemen, this survey provides us with clarity, but more importantly, it calls for our action. Our collective responsibility now is to translate these insights into tangible outcomes, creating jobs, strengthening businesses, and improving livelihoods for all Fijians. Our goal is not only to close skills gaps, but to unlock potential, to build a workforce that is productive, resilient, and globally competitive, and ensure that every Fijian has the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to our nation's progress. It is therefore my privilege to officially launch the 2026 National Skills Gap Assessment Survey, and let us move forward with purpose, turning evidence into action and skills into prosperity for all Fijians. Winawale.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for your keynote address. And the Prime Minister is very right. This is just the demand side survey of the labor market. We still need to do the supply side to make sure that the two sides are talking to each other and to develop strong policies and programs. Now I have the honor of inviting a representative of the Fiji Bureau of Statistics, Mr. Neori Kete, the data management analyst, to present the findings of this important survey.
Thank you, the Honorable Prime Minister, the ministers and the assistant ministers, the ILO Regional Director, the distinguished guests, the key stakeholders, the technical working group, members of the media, and ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to present the key findings of the National Skills Gap Assessment Survey. In brief of the presentation is in two parts. First is the key findings, and the second one that will be presented by the Chief Executive Officer of FCEF on the key message. On the overview of the presentation, survey brief, the business frame that was used to conduct the survey, the study objectives, the methodology, and the survey findings. The National Skills Gap Assessment Survey was conducted to assess the composition of employment in Fiji labor market, providing insight into occupational structure and sectorial distribution. As been mentioned earlier, this is a preliminary effort. This study constitutes the first national survey designed to assess skills lost in the country. The study on the labor market skills gap was conducted in collaboration with the key stakeholders, Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation, Higher Education Commission of Fiji, Fiji Human Resource Institute, and the Ministry of Strategic Planning, National Development and Statistics. Agencies that were also part of the technical working committee include the International Labour Organization, International Organization of Migration, the World Bank, Pacific Australia Skills, Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association. The Fiji Bureau of Statistics, or the FBOS, was tasked to conduct the survey on the listed businesses, ensuring that the data collected provide an accurate picture of employment composition and skills gaps in the labor market. So on the business survey, the study includes business registered on the following umbrella body: Fiji Commerce and Employees Federation, Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association, Fiji Human Resource Institute, Lambasa Chamber of Commerce, and also the government of Fiji. There were a total of 410 businesses that were interviewed. We sent the response, sent them the forms, of which 374 businesses respond to the questions, bring about 91.2% response rate. The main objective of the survey in 3 points, identify priority training needs, pinpoint sector and occupations where skill shortages are most acute, ensuring resources are directed to areas with the highest impact on national development. Secondly, on forecast future skills demand, use labor market trend, demographic shifts, the industry growth projection, and anticipated future skills requirements. And lastly, the support human capital planning, provide evidence-based insight for ministries, training institutions, and employers to align education and training programs with the labor market needs. The survey was conducted using 3 reference periods to capture a snapshot of the employment characteristics. The first one is 31st December 2022, and the second one is 31st December 2024, and the third one is 31st August 2025. These are the reference period or the reference point that we gather all the employees or the workers' information to make employment shifts and the trend analysis. On this table, it's the number of employees, a number of workers that were captured during these 3 survey period. In 31st December 2022, 91,338. 31st December 2024, it increased to 99,393, and in 31st August 2025, it rose up to 101,729. Please note that it's the same business that we capture all this information on this 3 years interval. So in comparison with our 2023-2024 employment and unemployment survey, the figures on 31st August 2025, it's around 33%, 33.4% of employed recorded in 2025. These were our findings on the wages against the salary earners. As we can define wages earners, it's just a short-term or casual employment, and salary earner are more into long-term or permanent employment. So in the graph, we can see there's an increase in proportion of salary earners from 2022 to 2025, and a decrease in wages earner, showing a shift from casual and wage earner to a permanent employment. This is proportions of the local and foreign workers. We can see that the graph from the 3 reference period, the local workers are declining, although they are high in proportion, but still declining, and the foreign workers with a low proportion, but can see increase or increasing in the percentage, in the proportion. From 2022, it's 1.4% of the total workers. 2024, it's 1.8%, and 2025, it's 2.2%. By gender, there's a fluctuations in the, by gender, we can see the male decrease in 2024 and increase again in 2025, while the female workers from 2024, it increased in proportion to 2024 and decrease again in proportion in 2025. Take into consideration the growth in employment, we use the 2022 as the base year. Wages earner, we can see our wages earner is increasing. It's a positive growth, not like salary is higher growth than the wages earner. Higher for the salary, it's a 16% growth, and the wages earner is 8%. The growth by gender, we can see the male has a growth by 15.1% from 2022 to 2025, and female 6.3%, which is a lower growth. By residency status, we can see the local workers, the growth is 10.4%, and the foreign workers is 79.1%. On the conditions of the workers, those who are in full-time, 14.9%, and the part-time workers have a negative growth of 21.5%. This correlates with the increase in salaries, together with the salaries against wages. On this slide, we identify the skill loss. This is identified by the business that we surveyed. Out of from the survey, 687 responses, and we put together that's 91 skills been identified by employers. On the screen, I just put up the 10 major one, the top skills that are identified by the workers, by the employers that are missing, but in the report, it got a full detail. These are the reasons for skill loss has been identified by the employers. Most portions is covered by overseas migration. So those are the effects of the skill loss as identified by the employers, overseas migration, and the second followed by the internal migrations that's within Fiji. And the third one is the NEC and PAM scheme. The fourth one was the COVID impact and the better opportunities and the higher skills level required against low qualifications. And these are the ways recommended by the employers according to the study. First of all, they recommending the upskilling and reskilling of current employees that they already have in the business. The second one is re-engagement of retired workers, recruitment of local workers, recruitment of overseas workers, and the least hiring of students for apprentice, work attachment, and program. From the recommended ways from employers, we can see that the recruitment of overseas workers is the least in their and what they have recommended. Okay, thank you. This
Thank you very much. So what does all this data say? Now, there's a lot of data in this report, but we just wanted to highlight three key messages that is coming out of this data. We lost our screen. Okay. So the first one is effective labor market policies and programs urgently need to address supply side issues. So we have a lot of supply side challenges based on this report, and we need to immediately address that. There's high skills gaps across all categories and all industries. So we analyzed the 95 positions that employers are finding it difficult, and if you look through that, the minimum qualifications required range from high school, TVET qualifications, and also academia. That indicates that we have supply side challenges right across the industry. While there has been an 11% growth, so based on the survey of all the 3 years, that was the frame, with all the organizations, there was an increase in employment in the labor force by 11%. However, the highest proportion of increase was seen by the foreign workers, which was 79%. So you can see local workers' increase is about 11%. There's a widening gender gap of 16%, the report indicates. But again, if you add that not to the youth unemployment rate, which is stated 18%, there's another glaring data in that report, youth not in education, employment or training, which is about 26.6%. So if you put gender, look at gender, youth, and persons with disability, it's an opportunity to get them into the labor force now because of the supply side constraints that we're facing. The majority of the skills losses are through overseas migration. This is what the report says, including seasonal work programs, and therefore we need to look at policies and programs that will put a valve in that to be able to modularize to see the number of skills and people that are going out versus what we need. And the report also indicates there's a need to prioritize the local labor market first rather than prioritizing overseas labor market at the moment. The second message that is coming out very clearly is the employers need to access 100% of their 1% FNU levy, which is around 25 million a year, to attract retained local staff. So if you look at the data, the employers are preferring to recruit local workers. That's their preference. Okay? Recruiting foreign workers is number 4 at the moment in terms of their list. So there is interest from local employers to recruit local employers. However, they're not able to use the 1% to maximum, and then are digging in more into their, into their coffers to be able to pay for more training, retention, and so forth. Currently, if you look at the employers, they're only able to access 10% of the FNU levy, so 10%, 1%. If you translate that into the number of workers that we have in our country, that's $7 per worker for professional development, and that is very minimum at the moment. And number 3, the key message that is coming out is efficient and safe recruitment for foreign workers, because the foreign workers trend continue to rise, and that we need to make sure that we sustain our businesses, and knowing that the supply side from the education institutes is have a lot of challenges, we still need foreign workers to make sure that our businesses and our offices and our machines are still operational. So we need to have bilateral agreements with the countries that are sending in most of the workers, not only for international but regional. So Bangladesh and India are the highest number of workers that are coming in, with Solomon Islands, PNG, and Tonga from the region. We have bilateral agreements of sending our workers to Australia and New Zealand, but on this side of the equation, there's no bilateral agreement, and it's basically what we call the wild, wild west at the moment. We need to improve efficiency of work permit processing. We know the Minister for Immigration is saying, I do not have a list of where the skills gap are so that I can approve and process them. Honourable Minister, we now have about 95 positions verified, not by FSEF or private sector, by our Bureau of Statistics, and this is government data now to be able to help you in the process. Allow spouses of expatriate staff to work. We have, expatriates who are given work permits, Most of their spouses are qualified, educated. We need to see how we can then get them to also work. We also allow regional students certain hours so they can work to buffer the gap. Our students, when they go overseas for studies, they are allowed certain amount of time to work. Even with the new PALM scheme, where families are going across, their spouses are also allowed to work. So I think we can, in the VUVALE, partnership agreement, also reciprocate and see how we can then provide employment for students and then also for staff. So thank you very much. These were the key findings of the report and also the key messages that are coming out. Please give a big round of the Bureau of Statistics for putting this together. We now come to the launching of the report. We now ask our chief guest and Director ILO and FSF IPP to please stand. The report is on the table with the director. We also ask the Dr. Evi from Higher Education Commission Fiji and Ms. Rosie Fong from the Fiji Institute of Human Resources to please join us in launching of the report. It will be a very simple photo opportunity, no cutting of cake to launch the report. But a very simple photo opportunity. I think with all the other money that we can use, we can put into program and support after for the findings. So we ask the media to come forward. Please give them a big round of applause for this very important report. Yes, you may take your seat. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of our formalities, we'd just like to mention that apart from the leadership from FSF and the partners, the Fiji Higher Education Commission, Fiji Institute of Human Resources, there was, the Fiji Institute of Human Resources. There were also other partners in the technical working group. There were the Ministry of Planning, there was the Reserve Bank of Fiji, the ILO, the IOM, the World Bank, and Pacific Australia Skills. Please give them all a big round of applause for supporting this initiative.